So now standing at the intersection of Przedborska and Mickiewicza, first thing I want to mention is actually got some important names there. Kluczbork is the place from where the Nazi assault on the 1st of September 1939 actually originated from, it came here. And Skorzysko Kamienia, place of armament productions. A couple of known places there. The road layout's changed. There was a road down here somewhere before, which is now gone and taken over by this petrol station. So it means I'm sort of walking out the ghetto to get back in again. So I went down here. This is ulica Mickiewicza, which was the former Schwarzenweg, or Schwarzenstraße. And ghetto on the left, where the petrol station and the Chinese market is, and on the other side of the street that was outside the ghetto. The back streets of the former ghetto. Now you have a house with date of 1913 on it. So people there would have seen what was going on inside here. No trouble. Built at the very end of the Russian period. Radomsko was captured by Austrian troops in 1915. And the German occupation authorities took over from them, actually issued a proclamation which said that issued towards the Jewish population, talking of liberation, and that the Russians weren't going to keep their promises as they hadn't kept them in the past, and that people were far better off with the Germans, as of course in the First World War they were. The Germans then brought liberation, and this is a rather curious fact that many people forget, because when they came back 24 years later, they brought death and destruction. Once more ulica Bugaj. And this more or less brings to a close this walk around the ghetto at its widest point. I'm now coming towards the intersection of Joselwicza and Mickiewicza, where I started off from, and you see that first thing, 20,000 people are kept in there. Dreadful overcrowding. Very little in the way of sanitary facilities and others. Before the war, sanitary facilities weren't particularly good anyway. And some houses did have things like flushing toilets, but it was unusual. Most of them had places outside that you had to use. Not certain what it is what we see in front of us now, for example. But with the dreadful overcrowding, this brought about diseases such as typhus. There were two major outbreaks of typhus, late 1940 and early 1942, which claimed hundreds of lives. People had no way of getting food, so they resorted to smuggling or whatever. Massive amount of people did actually escape from this ghetto, but most of them came back. Escape from ghettos wasn't actually particularly difficult. Getting out wasn't the difficult bit. The hard bit was staying alive outside the ghetto. I welcome comments from other people, because I basically do have a normal job. First thing is, and don't actually get paid for doing things like this, so I don't have time I'd like to, so that I may have made mistakes. And if I have made mistakes, I welcome people to actually write them down and say what the mistakes are. Of course, I do appreciate it when people write them in a nice fashion and not in a nasty fashion. I did have somebody giving me what I thought was a death threat because I made some mistake on deportations to Sobibor, which I think was really, in his opinion, I made a mistake. So it does show that it's nicer really to write things down nicely if there's anything wrong. Hope that was interesting.